bruh, you work for a fourth-rate, whatever now. You're not even on ESPN. You're barely a name. That check mark went from blue to like light blue in a heartbeat.
It's faded. Aw, he got the faded check mark.
But yeah, man, Kenny posed this question, beforehand off air. But
So why'd you let me ask it?
Well, go for it.
No,
then.
I'm kidding. You go for it.
Go for it.
I don't know what you're gonna ask. I pose a lot of stuff off air.
Where does your I don't know, I guess you could say passion for holding bloggers and writers accountable, where does that come from?
You know what it is? A long time ago, I was an average or slightly above average semi-pro football player. I've been writing for the longest time. I stopped writing for like a decade when I moved to Wisconsin, and my thing will always be this. I want to read truth. I want to read talent, where you and Kenny, the pride of Cal State Northridge,
Hey.
I'm Matador pride all up in there. You guys actually took the effort to go through school and actually, work at your craft, where you see Jim Bob at the Starbucks who has a laptop and species Wi-Fi connection, think he's a blogger, or I think he's a writer, I think he's a journalist. And it is upsetting and it is nerve-wracking to sit there and read so many people who retweet shit. It's garbage. It is. I hold them accountable for the simple fact that there are people, actual readers, who want to read quality material, who get caught up in I'm just going to call names, the 12 up of the world. Those of the 24/7 sports.
That's always something that's was interesting to me. Like people who cover the sport, people who actually played the sport, people who do it just for clout, and then people who shout out to you and Obi, because Obi killed somebody earlier on Twitter today whose name I'm not gonna say, but oh man, when I think about the accuracy in which you like to report and how you kind of set up narratives, the stories you tell, and I think about the infamous notebook that I have of all the Raiders' failed draft picks in the past 12 to 15 years. When did you know that this is what you kind of wanted to go into? Was it something that was always lingering while you were playing, or was it just something you came to once you were fully done?
You know what it was? When I was playing, it was the mid-'90s, and I wrote for a smaller blog back east, and I got to cover the NFL draft in New York a few times. And I said to myself, you know what, I kind of want to do this. And I still was playing at the time. So when I kind of hung him up at age 30, you know what, I'll see what's what. When I moved to Wisconsin, life happened, jobs, family, whatever. And then I took a decade off. When 2014 came about, I got a offer to write for another blog, and I covered the draft. I love covering the draft. It is a passion. Covering football is what I do. When my time on this earth is done and you see my gravestone, the first question will be, did you read the article? Second question will be, the second statement will be, how indebted I am to have the ability to communicate my thoughts to maybe a small audience or medium size who want to read them. And accuracy matters to me. I'm not saying I'm the most talented. I'm not saying that at all. I'm just, here's what I see, here's what I think, here's what I know. Judge for yourself.
So, long before, you and I started working together before, at the previous blog. And then,
I
naming names?
I brought Kenny into the fold.
We talking teams?
But even before then, I used to share snapshots from the group chat and be like, look at what these guys are on. And, one of the things that I really appreciate about, the group we have at FPC Raiders is, like I said, man, you guys are just great examples of men, between you, between Ray, between AZ, not just writing, but just the way, how you guys conduct yourself, with your families and stuff like that. It's definitely something that I've really appreciated from afar. And so I guess my question for you is, how have you balanced, being a great father along with, being a great writer and editor and all that?
it's more of having appreciation for both. I got 2 kids, one who turns 5 today, one turns 5 today, and one turns 3 in September. It's more of being able to look at them and say, you know what, your dad does this, your dad writes this. Like I said, when I'm a picture on the wall about 50, 60, 70 years from now, and they're alive, and my grandkids are alive, they can look back and, you know, open the tablet or whatever people use to browse and say, you know what, your grandfather wrote this, and it's honest. It's about holding myself to a standard that long after whatever, people can say, you know what, this guy wasn't an asshole. He actually thought about what he believed in and wrote about what he saw with honesty and integrity. And that's what I try to bring to the table, where when you look at FPC, everybody who writes for us has integrity. Like from you, I mean, you, Barry, you know,
Kenny's
Barry just
debatable,
graduated,
but
which
it's all right.
made me happy as hell.
Don't make me start slandering.
I was happy to see Barry graduate. Like, just to even look at the first, Barry is a funny follower on Facebook. Like, the most inappropriate memes you will see, and just I laugh. I'm like, I'm sorry, this shit's funny to me. But just to see, you know, to think about where he was and to where he's going to go. Just like you, Pete, to see where you were and where you're going to go. I mean, it's the sky's the limit. Where a lot of people in our business tend to, especially in my age bracket, tend to be haters and a little bit resentful of the millennial types because they feel threatened. Where I'm more of the, you know what, there's a wide open space for y'all. Let me open the door and have y'all walk through. Make me proud. Go do what you do.
Appreciate that, because we always talk about the whole gatekeeper thing and how we're coming up through journalism. We got friends dealing with stuff now, and it's like, I told Mancini, he quoted our friend Mancini, he quoted me the other day, he's like, don't be a don't sign to a label, be a free agent. And I feel like that's kind of how things came about with at least me getting on FPC. But yeah, he showed me some of the group chats, and I was like, that is wild. And he's like, he reminds me of you a little bit, except like you're younger, and it's like you haven't gone through enough stuff yet, but it's close. And then I saw the residual pettiness on Twitter, and I was like, oh yeah. And then,
but it's a thing. Like when Pete said, "Oh, I got this guy who can write," you know, and I read it, I'm like, "Wow, this guy can write." And I'll be honest, we've had other writers, we're not mentioning names, because we all know who they are, who honestly, I call them a 3 ginger ale or a 2 beer edit, where I have to drink either 3 ginger ales or 2 beers to get through their long, taxing ass work.
Red Stripe,
tap water, rainwater. I don't give a damn. It had to be something, bro.
That's wild.
Yeah, man, but you don't want to ramble too much on that.
Raiders of the Lost Archives. All right, bet.
But yeah, man, back to the Raiders. Just, you know, you named Carl Joseph, but what are some other position battles you're looking forward to in Hard Knocks? And who do you think is going to have the best bite out of Gruden, Mayock, AB, Incog? Need get the fuck out of here. Go.
And and what drinking game are you gonna play when Mike Mayock says bubble butts one too many times? What drinking game?
I'm gonna play the drinking game with like Don Julio. Which means if he says it like 3 or 4 times, y'all might have to either come see me in the hospital or throw in that black suit, because I'm going to be gone. Because, oh, my God, he's going to say that so many times. I think the position battle I want is, like, first of all, I think the best soundbite to answer your question is going to be AB. I don't think Carr is kind of the he'll make jokes, but he won't say anything outside where AB just has no filter and the camera's on. Incognito, I think he'll be muted because they might have him so doped up on anti-asshole pills or whatever he's taking to calm his dumb ass down. He probably won't offer too many sound bites because he knows that the world is watching. I honestly think one of the best sound bites will probably come from Mo Hurst, because you don't expect it.
Okay.
And he has that, like, he's a smart guy, so you know he's going to say something funny. Either Mo Hurst or Trent Brown. Trent Brown is real active on social media. He is country as fresh eggs, but he'll sit there and he will say something different. Just something odd. Just random non sequitur thoughts.
Who's the alpha on that D line? Because that's something Kenny and I have been talking about.
Farrell, maybe, because he has the best resume and the most counter moves.
That's not hard.
No, that's not hard.
Neither is their D line, but I'm trying.
Out here as strong as a fucking bendy straw, Arden Key.
I think Fernando Vargas had more encounters than that D line.
Zab Judah once he got knocked out.
The ferocious one, our guy from Oxnard.
Victor Ortiz in a Mayweather fight.
See, all chain, no moves. Let's see. I think
Chael Sonnen?
Farrell or
you win. You won.
Ooh.
I agree.
You won.
You won. I was gonna say a name. It's not as strong as that one. It's above me now.
You won. It's now above me now. Actually, a quiet one would be Benson Mayowa. I know that he's not going to be like much of a starter, but he does have a Super Bowl ring, even though he rode Pine. But he does Super Bowl ring, and he kind of carries that veteran presence where he will be like the guiding force. But I think Farrell will be the dominant one. Either him or Jonathan Hankins, who's big enough to fight everybody in the team.
I heard Obi give the same take, and come on, T, you play D-line.
I think Hankins got a ring too.
You're telling me you're going to listen and follow a dude that doesn't even have a position? Come on. Like, your jewelry's nice, but bruh, what position do you play? Like,
that's fair, but it's like
did you come in as a linebacker?
That veteran leadership for him. I think that's going to lead, but I honestly think
veteran leadership right out the door to the waiver wire. Hey,
how they gonna have leadership when none of their linebackers got vision or can see?
Seriously, they have a bunch of honestly. What was it?
It's the 4.78 competition.
Ray Charles, Stevie Wonder, and Jose Feliciano for those who are of a certain age, where they're just blind as hell, just can't see 3 feet in front of them, just miss every goddamn tackle.
Marshall's the only one, and even then, he'd be my outside linebacker. And you got Vontez and Tahir Whitehead, who honestly, he only looks nice because he's wearing the number 59 and he's in silver and black. Otherwise, it's just like
he can't cover a shift. That's how bad he is.
He can't cover a holiday shift.
He can't even cover a 3-hour shift. Like, bro, you don't even need a lunch break. Come on, man.
Just cover my lunch break.
I'll get your gas. Like,
he's terrible. Like, he is so bad against a pass. Seriously, like, when you see him on the field, if you're an opposing quarter, just audible to a pass. Just come on, tight end. You can be wide ass open. Like, legs on prom line open. Just come on. Just find a seam and just sit down. We got you.
Yeah, I just gotta know how are you feeling about that draft class? Because personally, I feel like they should have not passed on Montez Sweat or Devin White, and they probably should have copped the tight end. But whatever. How do you feel?
When they picked Farrell, I'll be honest. My first thought was why? Just why? You have the fourth pick in the draft. There are only 3 guys ahead. You have 200, 300 guys behind them you could pick. You went the subcompact Uber when you could have been rolling in the Mercedes as Montez Sweat.
Yep.
And you had Uber points.
Mm-hmm. And then just Abraham, he's a high character guy and he's smart. That's fine, but bro, you could have just waited on a safety. And it was at first I was not happy. I'll be honest, I was not happy. But then hearing Mayock initially, because then he spun the narrative into character, which became quickly unraveled with the signs of Incognito. It unraveled. But at that point, I was not happy. But then Max Crosby, Trayvon Mullen, our dude Bell from our Prairie View, they have that young talent where I was happy with the later rounds, but that first round, not happy. But then they're looking to kind of build or to put certain pieces in spots, and they can't mess it up. Like, they have to hit on all 3 of these, where if it were just one draft pick, they had 3. Excuse me, you had 3 guys. You need to hit on all 3. They all need to be productive. There's no mess ups here.
Josh Jacobs, your thoughts? Because I would have preferred to take
because you skipped him in your synopsis.